Hello, everyone. This is Rose from the Book of Life. Today's topic is skeletons in the closet. Clean the skeletons from your closet before trying to publicly expose someone else's skeletons. Period. Let's talk about it. Ooh, child, I'm here to tell you, I need to talk to you all today because I need to get this off my chest. This been burning a hole inside of me since Sunday. Today is Wednesday. So I need to talk about it. Now, as many of you know, every now and again, I will go out to dinner with one of my friends, my girlfriends. We meet up at the restaurant and we usually go on Sundays. We go after we get out of church. We'll meet up at the restaurant and we go early because we try to beat the dinner crowd. So we'll head to the restaurant around between 3 and 3:30. So by 5 o'clock, we leaving out the door when the crowd come in. We got our little takeout of what we didn't eat because we order the appetizer each and our entree so we can have some leftovers to take for a midnight snack because we're eating early. But anyway, that's you know. But anyway, so I went at the restaurant with Martha. Martha and I is there. We sitting there, we having a good time eating and doing what we do. And so it's time to leave. So we're leaving, and I walk a little bit ahead of Martha because Martha she has a slower pace than me, and I have to be patient with her, and I'm good with that. I'm good with patience. But I walked a little ahead of her so that I can open the door in the foyer of the restaurant, because that they had those two doors, and the one that's to the outside is closed, and the one that's to the inside is usually open. So I go into the foyer area and I stand there and I'm waiting on Martha to get to that point, and I held the door open for her. So as I'm standing there and I got the door open, a lady walks into the restaurant because I have the door open for her. And this lady, when she walks in, she looks at me. She walks in and she kind of give me a stare. She just stare at me. And I'm like, okay, so do she know me? That's what's in my thought. Or maybe I held the door open for her. Did she think that was odd? You start thinking stuff in your mind because you're like, why is she staring at me like that? So anyway, I just smile, I just do my little friendly smile, and because I don't know who she is. And then but she walked on past me, and after she stared at me for a while. And by that time Martha had made it to the door. So Martha's getting ready to go through the door. So and I'm gonna follow in pursuit behind her so I could close the door. But then I hear all of a sudden in a loud voice, "Hey girl, hey girl." I mean, just loud. Now, I mean, that's a familiar, you know, phrase because that came from my era. That's what we used to say back in the day, and I think they still say that now. So when she said that, and I'm quite sure it was the lady that just walked in the door because by that time my back was to her. But when she said it, curiosity got the best of me. I was like, who is she talking to? Yelling like that. I'm thinking that she came to the restaurant to meet up with somebody and she met him and she screamed out, "Hey girl," to him. So I wanted to turn and look. Because, I'm being nosy now. I'm turning and look to see who she talking to because I'm like, well, I didn't see nobody standing, in the foyer or up near the desk where the check-in desk. So I'm like, is she yelling to somebody that's sitting inside the restaurant? Why would she yell from the front of the where the door is at to this person? So I had to turn and be nosy. But when I turned and looked at her, lo and behold, she was yelling at me, "Hey girl." I looked at her, I was like, I was in shock. So I'm looking at her because I'm trying to, I say, okay, now if she holler, yay, hey girl, she must know who I am. So I'm looking for face recognition. I'm trying to figure out who she is. So I figure I better say something because I'm staring at her like something is wrong. So I say in a calm voice, I said, because I can get loud, but I don't get loud like that anymore. I used to back in the day because where I come from, everybody yell. Majority of my people, the people that lived in my neighborhood was from the country, and so they yell like they had to, like they was yelling at their neighbor that live a acre or two away. So everybody yell. So anyway, I looked at her and I said, in a calm voice, because I wanted her to talk calm. I thought if I talk calm, she would. So I said, are you talking to me? I said, you talking to me? And she's like, yeah, girl, I'm talking to you. I was froze again because I'm like, okay, what do I say to her? And then when she called me by my government name, she when she called me by my government name, I said, okay, this is somebody that know me from back in the day. Because see, everybody called me Rosie now. They gave me that nickname Rosie just because I like to drink rosé wine whenever I drink. I'm not a wino. I know it may seem like I am for them giving me that name, but see, everybody drink. I'm not one of those back in the day girls that got to have her Hennessy and her gin and all of that stuff. When I'm hanging out with my girls, they know what I want. They know I want rosé wine, and I'm only gonna have a glass. That's it. I do not like feeling out of control. I like feeling. I like wine, but I don't like not having that control. So they know I'm only gonna drink a glass, and I'm gonna sip on it for a long time. It is, so it may give me a little buzz because I'm slowly sipping on it, and that's about it. But anyway, so that's why they call me Rosie, and that's why I go by Rose because that's where they got it from. They call me Rose, they'll call me Rosie. But anyway, so when she called me by my government name, I'm study looking at her, and I'm thinking, okay, obviously I must look very similar to how I looked back in the day, but older, because I'm old. That's okay. I don't mind it, saying it. But I didn't recognize her, and I didn't want to offend her by telling her I did not recognize her, but she recognized me. Because some people get offended if you say, "Well, where I know you from?" or "What's your name?" People get offended. You don't know me. I know. I still look the same. They get that attitude. So I didn't want to do that, especially when with her being as loud as she was in the restaurant. So I'm looking at her and she's like, so I said, okay, so what am I gonna say to her? When she said, so finally I said, well, yeah, hey girl. I repeated what she said. I said, hey girl. I said, long time no see. Well, I didn't lie. Long time no see. I said, that's the best opening I can give her, the reply I can give her, because I don't know who she is. So she goes on to talk to me. And then she said, yeah, long time no see. She said, it's been a long time, girl. She said, well, how life been doing you? What's been going on? And then even though she asked me those two questions, she went straight into asking me about an ex-boyfriend of mine. I was like, And I said, I said, well, what makes you think I'm still with him? I said, you, if you know anything about my life, you know that we broke up years ago because that was somebody that I dated back in my twenties, and was that ended about as quick as it got started. It was not a long term relationship. So why is she asking me about this guy? So I just look and I said, well, you know that ended way back in the day. I don't know anything about his life. I don't know anything about where he's at. So then she goes on and she continued to talk, and I tell her, I said, well, you know, I said, I got my friend right here. Her name is Martha. I said, let me introduce you to her because by this time she had stepped towards the door. She had moved back over towards me. And I said, and so I tell her, I said, well, I don't want to keep holding these people's door open. So I said, do you mind stepping out to talk to me? So she stepped out of the restaurant outside. So I introduced her to Martha. And then she just nodded her head at Martha as a way of saying hi. And then she just kept on talking about, oh, you know what, girl? I ran into an ex best girlfriend of yours. Your ex, I said, a ex best girlfriend? I said, that's a strange way to put it. And I said, really? She said, yeah. So she told me who this ex girlfriend that she ran into was. When she told me her name, I said, now I know why. She said ex best girlfriend. I said, yeah. I said, okay then. I say, and she proceeded to tell me about the things this person said about me. Now, the thing is about the person that who's my ex friend. This is somebody I known for years. She came into my life when I was in my mid 30s, my early 30s, really, because I was like about 33 when I met her. And we became good friends. And the thing about it was, this was someone that I called my sister because that's how close we was. It was at the point where if I moved somewhere, she followed right behind me. She would move. If I moved to a particular area, it wouldn't be long before she moved to that area. And I mean, we did this consistently for years. She always followed behind me. She was always, at my house. I was feeding, I was the type that I was the one who did all the cooking for the holidays. I threw a lot of events at my house. I would invite people over. I love to cook, and they would come over, and I love seeing people enjoy my food and having a good time at my house. And so she would always be in attendance, and so this was, I was just really surprised that they knew each other because, this, when I met this person, it was back when I didn't know the lady who I ran into the restaurant with. But anyway, so she began to tell me about this person. And she said, so I didn't want her to spill too much at that moment because she started off talking about the person. And I said, well, look, look, here, let me tell you something. I said, because we're standing outside. Martha and I need to get home. I say, but I took my phone and out my purse, and I put my, went to my contacts. I say, just add your name and number to my contacts, and we can talk about this later. I said, because I really don't really care to talk about this person right now because you said it right when you said ex best friend. And I say, and this is not a conversation that I want to go into right now, here and now, standing outside this restaurant. I'm ready to get home. I'm ready to go home. And I know Martha tired of standing right here. So she put her name and number in my phone. And then I told her, I said, well, when I get to the car, I'm going to text you. I'm gonna send you a text, so that you will have my number. And she said, "Okay, girl, because I look forward to talking to you. I really got a lot to tell you because your ex girlfriend, oh, she really spilled the beans on you." I was like, "Spill the beans on me? What's she talking about?" So I just said, "Okay, well, I'll talk to you later." So Martha and I, we parked next to each other, so we didn't have to walk far from the entrance of the restaurant to our car. So when we get to the car, I help Martha inside the car, inside her car. She, she raised her window down for us to say our goodbyes before I got in my car to leave. So just as Martha was putting her seatbelt on and she was getting ready to crank her car up and she had the window down, she heard me say, I said, "Damn it." I said, "Oh my God." And then I said, "Damn it." And see, that shook Martha because she know now I'm not perfect. I say a few words, but she know I don't normally say that unless something caught me off guard, unless I'm upset about something. And so for me to say, "Damn it," Martha's like, "What's wrong, Rosie? What's wrong, Rosie? What's going on?" And I said, "You won't believe who that person is." I said, "I just looked in my phone at the contact, who that is." She said, "No." She said, "Who is it?" I said, "That's Rona Barrett of the projects." I said, "That's the nickname we gave her way back in the days." I say, "We call her Rona Barrett of the project." So Martha said, "Well, who is Rona Barrett?" I say, "Rona Barrett." I said, "Back in the days, Martha," I said, we didn't have this social media. The only way we got our news was from listening to the news. And when we listened to the news, they didn't give us anything um, about people in the celebrity world or Hollywood or anything like that. It was strictly news back in those days. It was about people in politics or the actual real news. I say so. Rona Barron was a person that wrote in the newspaper. She would write. She had a gossip section in the newspaper, and every Sunday I would run. They would run and get those Sunday newspaper because the Sunday newspaper had your TV guide in it. It had the comics in it. The kids was running for the comics and then you read about what's going on in the world with the celebrity people because Rona Barrett gossip about everybody. Everybody. She knew everybody business. And we would read that and we would go, how she get this information about their business? And it had to be verified information because it was written in print in the newspaper. And if it wasn't truthful, that these people can sue her and sue the newspaper. So we would read that and that would be the topic of discussion, in my neighborhood. Because that was the only social media we had was that newspaper. So Rona Barron was known throughout my community and as the gossip columnist. She talked about everything. So that's why I said, and the thing is, this girl here, her name is Rhonda. And her name went well with who Rona Barrett, what she did. I said, because Rhonda, oh my God, Rhonda would get everybody business. She did not care who it was. She didn't care if it was her own mama, her own family, and she was telling everybody business. And the thing is, she tell it in her own way. She gonna give you some facts with a lot of untruth, but it was always interesting. But people didn't like talking to Rhonda. They didn't like her around because they knew that if they had any secrets or any skeletons in the closet, that Rhonda would expose it. Rhonda was going to tell your business, but she never told her business. But she didn't care. She would tell about her own mama. Her mama put her out one time because she told some stuff that her mom, she was heated. And then she came knocking at my door, wanted to know if she could sleep on my couch. I let her stay for one night. And after that, I didn't open my door no more because she was in my business too much. But anyway, so so Martha said, "Well, girl," she said, "I'm just gonna pray for you, and I'm gonna pray for her." She said because don't she probably won't even call you no way. She said, "So don't even worry about it. I'm just gonna pray for you guys when I get home." I say, "Thank you, Martha. I can always count on you for prayer." So I go home and I didn't think too much of it, you know. I let it go because because I know that Rona, Rhonda, she would have called me the next day. That was my thought. She gonna call me the next day because she want to be nosy and she want to tell me what she know about my ex best friend. So I go home and she didn't call me the next day. So I said, okay then, it's all good. She probably forgot, when I text her and say this is, gave her my government name. I said maybe she forgot about me. So 3 days later, I'm in my office. I'm working. I'm on my computer doing some little things on my computer, and my phone ring. Now I was so deep. I shouldn't have picked up my phone right away because I was so into what I was doing, and normally I don't do that. That's what got me because normally when I'm in thought, when I'm doing something, I don't pick up the phone, especially from a private number. I let them leave a message. If it's somebody that I'm familiar with the number and I want to talk to them right away, I would pick up the phone. Or if there's somebody I know and I don't want to talk to them, I just shoot that I'll call you back, busy thing. I just shoot that text right quick to them and let them know I'll call you back, I'm busy. So I was knee deep in what I was doing and I was deep in thought. And I grabbed the phone and I picked it up. Seeing that it was a private number, I asked myself, why did I pick up this phone? So I picked it up and I recognized the voice because she was loud. It was Rhonda. Rona. It was her. So I said, oh my God, what did I do here? So I tried to brush her off. I said, hey, Rhonda. I said, how things going with you? She's like, she started talking. I said, I was really busy. I picked up this phone so fast. Then I asked her, I said, see, how did you, I said, call me on a private number when the number you gave me is different from this obvious is a number different from the number you put in my phone. She said, "Oh, girl, I got several phone numbers. I got several phones." She said, "I don't know what number I gave you." I said, "Oh, okay, I see." So then she began to talk. I said, "Well, I'm kind of busy here. I'm working on the computer." She said, "Well, it only gonna take a minute. You picked up the phone. You can't be that busy." So she started to talk, and so I said, "Oh my God!" So I put the phone on speaker, and I set it, on my desk and on the little stand on the desk, and I continued to work on the computer as she talked. Now, I wasn't paying her too much of any attention, but she first started off. I heard her bring up three names that I know, but what she said about them, I don't know. I heard her talk about Pookie. Pookie was somebody we knew back in the day. She talked about Reggie and she talked about Barbara, people we knew back in the day. What she said about them, I have no idea. I just was continuing to do what I was doing and was totally ignoring her. And so she was just running her mouth. And it really became like you be at work, you working and you just turn some music on and just relaxing music or whatever, and you be listen to that music while you work. It became like music because even though it was loud, I totally forgot that she was on the phone. Me sitting up here typing on my computer and totally forgot and was on the phone. So so a little time had went past because I turned to look at the phone. See, oh my God, we've been talking. She been talking for 25 minutes straight. And I said, I don't know what she said. So I didn't know how to get her off the phone at that point because I said, okay, I got to listen to her so I could bring up the last thing she said and say, hey, girl, well, just to let her know I was paying attention and in the phone conversation. So I decided to listen so I can say, yeah, girl, we could talk about that later, but I got to know what we got to talk about later. So I need to hear what she's talking about. And so as I was listening, that's when she brought up the ex best girlfriend. So she said, girl, let me tell you about, and when she said tell you about, she said her name, but I'm going to call her blah, 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 because she ain't getting no glory from me to even say her name. And that's how it is. That's the type of person she became in my life. So I'm not going to even mouth her name. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. So she bring up blah, blah, blah. Then she began to tell me about the conversation her and blah, blah, blah had. Now, blah, blah, blah gave this girl a whole detailed account of my life. But the thing is, she brought up incidents or things that happened in my life that was not a bad thing. So it was like 10% truth because it was actual real events that happened in my life. But it was 90% false and lies. So I took it that some kind of way these two people came together, how my name came up and they got to see that they had a mutual friend or person that they knew back in the day. And blah, blah, blah had to see that this person was somebody that is a good in gossiping. I don't know. Maybe she knew her back when, or she knew her family or whatever. And she felt the need to talk to her about me because she knew if anybody would spread somebody's business, it would be Rhonda. So she brought up some events that happened in my life. That was the 10% truth. But then everything from out of her mouth was a lie. Rhonda began to tell me these things. And I did take into the account that Rhonda is a liar, but Rhonda is the type that when somebody tell her something, she gonna give you all of the truth for what they said, and then she gonna add her lie to the end of it. So that's how I know that Rhonda, a lot of stuff that it was an equal lie between them two, because the only truth that Rhonda gave me was the actual event. And then it was nothing but lies. And I know that the conversation she had to have with this person was not that short lived. So that means that that person did a lot of lying. And then Rhonda added some lies at the end of it. So I know that the 90% lies was probably 50% from blah, 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 and 50% from Rhonda. So I'm listening to this. And I mean, this person is really trying to put me down as a person and my family. And I mean, it was horrible to know that people can put their mouth on you in this way, bad mouth you, to really try to make you look bad, to make you seem like there's something demonic about you, something wrong with you. I mean, to have come up with a whole scenario, a whole storyline about me, about me, and to do it with actual events of my life, to give that little bit of truth, and then to do it with actual events of my life, and the rest of it is nothing but lies. That was like, it was like, it's not enough for you to be out of my life because I saw the real you after all these years. Because I recognize, I'm the type that I'm very giving, and I'm the type that when I recognize something in people is not enough of a red flag for me to get away from them, because I believe that people can change. And I believe that if I be the light around them, maybe they can learn from me. Not that I'm perfect, but it's like if you're gonna be loud, then I'm gonna be calm because I'm hoping my calmness bring your calmness, your loudness to a calm. That's what I'm saying. That's how I try to be, and I don't like pushing people away because I see the red flags right away. I feel like love can conquer all. If I give them support, if I show them love, maybe maybe this will help them. Maybe, everybody turn away from you. How do you draw them in to get to know what you got to know? And that is being in a relationship with God that changed my life. So how do I draw them in if I push them away because I see a red flag? So that's the way I was with this person. But I realized that with this girlfriend, that I had to push her away. I had to let go because I'm not Jesus, and I can't get her to change. I can't keep putting up with what she has to dish out and what she has to give in life that is not beneficial to me. And people looking at me sideways because of her. People look at you by the company you keep. And here I am trying to not be the one person that turn away from her like everybody else has in her life. I'm trying to be that friend that show her some love and show her some support in hopes that she would change. But after I seen that she was not going to, I had to let go too because now everybody looking at me sideways because when they see you, they see me and they gonna put me in the same category as you. And it broke my heart to have to let go. But when you get to a point where you're talking about my kids and you're coming from my kids and my family, I really got to let go. And that's what I did. And so when Rhonda was telling me about this, I said to myself, I said, Rhonda and blah, 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 they deserve each other. They are so much alike. They are two of a kind. But I don't have to deal with this anymore. I don't. So I got to the point where I had enough of listening to Rhonda. And I told Rhonda, I said, you know what, Rhonda? I say, you said it best when you said that she is my ex best friend. I say that is correct. I say, and hopefully, based on the things you told me, you understand why she is my ex best friend. I say, because I don't tolerate anyone going around trying to make me look bad in the public eye, lying on me, straight out lying on me to because they want to tear me down. I say to just tear me down for what reason? Because I was a good friend to you? Because I was a giver? Because I tried to show you love? I tried to have your back and show you support and be there for you in a way where nobody else would. And this is what I get from it. And because I walked away, because I had some sense like everybody else and decided to step away from it and let it go because I knew at this point, I'm not Jesus. I can't save this person. I have to let it go. As much as I want to help, I can't do it. I can't do it. And that's what I did. So I told Rhonda, I told her this, and I say, so I care to not hear any more about her. I really care to not hear any more about her. I say, the thing is, I say, here you got darkness trying to expose some skeletons in my closet with lies. I said, with lies. And I say, I care not to hear anymore. So I told Rhonda, I said, Rhonda, I say, look, I say it was good running into you in the restaurant. I'm happy we got a chance to see each other after all these years. I said, but I don't have time for this type of conversation. I say, so I'm going to speak my truth. And my truth is, you and I We have to end this relationship right here with this conversation because I'm not that girl anymore. That back in the day girl that want to listen to a lot of this type of conversation. I say, I'm sorry. I'm not that girl. So I'm going to remove your number from my phone. And please, if we see each other in the streets, let's show each other some love. I say, but I can't do this. So Rhonda, I say, so I'm hanging up, Rhonda. I say, God bless you and you take care of yourself, okay? And I hung up. But before I hung up, I told Rhonda about my podcast because I knew she would run back and tell the ex best friend. And I'm hoping that blah, blah, blah is listening to this episode of Skeletons in the Closet. So, blah, 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 if you are listening, I say, what I want to say to you is, you better be glad. I mean, praising whoever you worship, that I'm not a tit for tat person because I'm not. I can't believe that after ending my friendship with you, that you would continue to have my name in your mouth in a negative way. In a negative way. Continue to try to bring me down. Continue to try to put dirt on me. You know, the thing is, what you fail to remember is that I know all your skeletons in the closet as well as where you got them buried at. But I'm not that person. I'm not going to say this and that about you. What you did in your past is between you and your God. I'm not here to bring it up. I'm not here to make you feel bad about it. I'm not here to put you down in order to, in hopes that it's going to build me up and make me look somehow bigger and brighter and because I could tell your business and throw dirt on you the way you trying to do me. And the thing is, I'll be giving truth, not a bunch of lies. But that's not who I am. And you know this. And I think that's what it is about you that come from me. Because you angry because I'm not dark like you. You angry because I choose to operate in the light. You angry because when I got in church and I got to have a relationship with God, I was there for the right reasons. I was there because I really needed him in my life. I was there because I was there to get a relationship with him. I wasn't there trying to pick up on no man. I wasn't there trying to chase. I wasn't there for no other reason than to learn about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I think the fact that I was walking in the light of righteousness because I truly accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior in my heart. And because I was walking in the light of righteousness, you got angry about that because you didn't want me to have a relationship with him. You wanted me to live in darkness and follow behind you, but I was too headstrong for that. I'm not a follower when it comes to darkness. Now, if you're going to lead me and guide me somewhere, it got to be in light, but not in darkness. And you didn't like that. So blah, blah, blah. I'm here to let you know whatever you put out there on these streets about me, I don't give a care. I don't care. The fact that you still talking on me tells me that, hey, this girl is on fire. I must got it going on because you still talking about me. And so, hey, I'm just going to keep walking in who I am. Hey, I can't sing y'all, but hey, I had to say that. But that's how I'm feeling. Because after all these years, you still got me in your mouth. You still trying to bring me down. So I see that as I'm on the path of where I'm supposed to be. And God got me because it's really not bothering me. So I want you to know, blah, 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 that the weapons you are using in darkness will not prosper. It's not prospering at all. So whatever you want to throw my way, with however way you want to poison the mind of people, you go right ahead. Because if you succeed as poisoning their mind against me, guess what? That shows that they're not in the light. Because people that walk in the light of God, love, who got God in their heart, they will fruit inspect me. And they will look at my fruit. And they would know that when you coming with this darkness about me, that's not who they see me to be. Especially somebody that known me for years like Martha. If you come to her with some mess like this, she gonna be rebuking the devil out of you. Martha gonna rebuke you. She probably threw some blessed oil on you and tell you, Satan, get out of here. Because Martha fruit inspect. And she knows who I am. And she knows that that's what with the lies you told to Rhonda is not me. So whoever ears it gets into is not ears that I care about knowing anyway. I don't care. So I'm saying this to you that you know what? I really started feeling sorry for you. I did. I began to feel sorry for you because I figure after all these years you still in the same position, no growth. No growth whatsoever. Go to church, but just like those other dark imps that's in church trying to steal the praises of the saints. You still go, I'm quite sure you're still in church trying to do that. But anyway, I look and I pray for you. I feel sorry for you because my prayer is that you find true joy and you find true love. That you experience that love that and the love that it comes into your heart. I really want you to experience the love of God in your heart because I would really love for you to see how beautiful it is and how it can help you become a better person. I think a lot of what you're going through is that you're lacking in that love because you won't open yourself up to receive it. You in church, but you just sitting there allowing darkness to use you. And for the people that don't know, yeah, darkness come to church. The devil sent his little imps to church to try to disrupt and disturb the service, to try to block the praises of the people. But let me tell you, they can't win. They're not going to win. They're not going to prosper. It's not going to happen. So my prayer for you, blah, 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 is that you experience that love that I experience in my heart, that you get to know God the way I get to know him. Oh my God, how blessed you will feel, how joyful you will feel, how peaceful you will feel. I pray that you receive that because you've been in church for too long to not know it, to not know it. So my prayer for you is to please allow yourself to experience that. I don't know if you ever been baptized with the Holy Spirit. I think you said you've been baptized in water, but I didn't see it. Because when we came into the church together, you said you was already baptized, but you witnessed me get baptized in water. You witnessed me get baptized with the Holy Spirit. So I hope that if you just saying that, just to say it, I pray that you do experience it if you haven't, because it will change your life, especially the baptism of the Holy Spirit. Because you can't be evil and dark and then have the love of God in your heart. Something is going to cause you to not feel comfortable in that. So, and it doesn't mean you're gonna be perfect, because like I say some words. I get angry, but I just pray your peace and I pray for joy. And I have nothing more to say to you. I'm definitely gonna pray for you. I'm out of here, people. Thank you so much for allowing me to vent and say what I had to say to blah, blah, blah. And I hope that anybody else that had to experience what I experienced with blah, blah, blah and Rona would take what I just did and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be the bigger person and I'm going to let the joy and the love of God in my keep me moving away from that and know that the weapons that they speak in darkness, the lies they tell, will not prosper in your life. To God be the glory. Peace until next week. See you. Have a good one.